Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear attendees for the MSLM 26, we are going to start our parallel session for the AI session that is from OSA. The name of the session is Minds and Machines, Exploring All AI Across Different Disciplines. So we have three lineup of speakers. Our esteemed speakers would be Dr. Farah Latif Saiba, Muzaffarah Ahmad Saiba, and Sabiha Salma Saiba. We'll come to the introduction in a little bit of time, but in the meantime, just before starting the session, let me go that how we can explore AI and with the guidance of truthfulness from our religion also. It is mentioned in chapter 55, verse 34. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and I do the translation for that, O company of jinn and men, if you have power to go beyond the confines of the heavens and the earth, then do go, but you cannot go save with authority. This is an important message which has been explained by Khalifatul Masih, the two, Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Ta'ala Anho. He explained, pertaining to this verse, that when you obey the worldly leaders in one way or the other, but the utmost obedience is inevitable for the Almighty Lord, because the scientist has been exploring the travel of the light, the reaching to the heavens, and reaching to the different planets. But based on some of these solid proven facts and hypotheses, which verifies it, but the ultimate knowledge and the discovery can only come from the true guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and only with the help of a person that has been appointed by Allah. So this is an important message when we explore these new domains of science, that how AI is changing our world, but what is the importance of remaining behind the shield which has been given to us in the form of Khilafat and in the form of the Prophet of the time. So with that, we'll start with our session, and I will invite Dr. Samar Ahmad so that she can give a little bit of introduction for our line of speakers. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to introduce Dr. Farah Latif. She is a communication and reputation management consultant and lectures in the Department of Organizational Sciences and Communication at George Washington University. Her research focuses on how social media and generative AI influence reputational management, a field important for businesses and individuals in managing their public image and perception. Dr. Latif also serves as a research fellow at George Mason University Center for Media and Public Affairs, as well as the Character Assassination and Reputation Politics Lab. She is a co-author of Late Night in Washington, Political Humor and the American Presidency, published in 2023, which explores the historical and contemporary role of late-night political comedy in political discourse, late-night political humor and the 2020 presidential campaign, Still All Trump, All the Time, published in 2024, and Ridicule in Late-Night Political Humor in the United States, Contours and Consequences, published in 2025, which delves into the consequences of political humor on public perception.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So I understand that I am one of few, if not the only, social scientist in the panel. Definitely on the panel, but in our gathering as well. So I am a bit of a fish out of water, but the perspective that I bring to this session is from the social science view, and where every day we see natural scientists, STEM scientists use AI for efficiencies and see the benefits. On my end, we see AI as a double-edged sword with some benefits, but also some social harm that it produces. So I am here to talk about a big question as we've seen with a lot of technology, will AI diminish our humanity, or would it benefit us as better human beings? So the framework that I bring is of obviously the Holy Quran, and then my research interest, which is in reputation management, which looks into how we all have a reputation, right? When we generally hear about reputation, we think about celebrities, we think about politicians, famous people, but the Holy Quran suggests that we are all created honorable human beings. Allah Ta'ala has given us His divine light of honor. So with that, I guided my research into reputation management to discern that we all hold valuable reputation and are responsible for it. And a lot of times it can be vulnerable. And now we'll go through a little bit of how AI can manipulate that reputation, and how AI can overtake some of social processes that used to take place in somebody's living rooms and small quarters, and taking it to larger platforms, right? So so as I said before I started my research, my focus was on this phrase from the Holy Quran that Allah Ta'ala has honored all human beings, the children of Adam, with honor. And what does that mean in the context of social science? What we know about reputation is that it's a component, there are three basic components to it. It is how we identify ourselves, how we view ourselves, how we like to be viewed by others, and how other people actually views us, right? So it's a combination of these three elements. And but this reputation is quite vulnerable. It's delicate. It's subjected to so many outside factors, so many outside influences. And as I suggested earlier, maybe 100 years ago, somebody's repute, their reputation, their perception was determined by a small group of people sitting in their living room speaking of someone. Now it has taken to larger platforms. And AI, well, with the advent of social media, that conversation kind of got out of hand, went to public forum, and it seems with AI, now that conversation has become more automated, right? We have less and less control over how a certain perception is made, it's propagated, how it is distributed. We are starting to have even less control over that. And that can be a problem, right? If we allow AI to take over this perception-making process, and in the mix of it, we are also seeing how automation, social media, AI influence human beings' behavior in terms of how to make those perceptions, right? The steps somebody may take to follow trends, to use filters in videos, to show or highlight a perception of them that may be unreal, unrealistic, inaccurate, untrue. Okay, so if this AI and social platforms are such a big problem, why do we not have governments or agencies, authorities trying to reel things in? Because there are certain limitations. First of all, innovation cannot be stopped, right? It is a lot of times outside of the control of governments, and how and to what degree a government controls that innovation depends on different region, different national interests, whether it's economic or national security. A little bit of it's difficult to define jurisdiction when it comes to technology, online platforms, where what technology and how can be used. It can be difficult, not impossible, but there is always loopholes. And AI develops faster than any technology or any regulation that can take up. But what I will talk very briefly about is the three regulatory models that we see that are in place. The EU's seems to be the most vigorous. They are more focused on human rights, democracy, privacy concerns. But there are some, again, some loopholes and some harms from it, which is that it can stifle innovation, whereas United States policies are segmented, they are by regions or by sector, and they allow for more innovation, but not a lot of coordination. So the guidance that the Holy Quran provides us is to foremost maintain human dignity, truthfulness, justice, and knowledge as amanat, as a sacred treasure that we produce, that we convey, that we propagate. And most importantly, there are many Quranic guidance about how we manage information, and dignity of human beings come at the top of those concerns. All right, so with that, I will end my presentation, but we come back to the same point of how much regulation do we need, right? There are always going to be some loopholes. There are always going to be some trade-offs with any amount of regulation. So it falls on us as persons to navigate and determine how to use technologies. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, Dr. Latif, for that very enlightening presentation on an AI-driven world and the ethics policy and the future that we face. Next, we will be hearing a talk from Muzaffarah Ahmad. She is a computer engineer by training and a data storyteller by practice. Muzaffarah Ahmad brings a uniquely grounded perspective to personalized care with AI. With a foundation in computer engineering and hands-on expertise in data analytics, diagnostics, AI, she translates complex data sets into actionable insights that drive meaningful integrated decisions. Her diverse life experience navigating cultures, systems, and spaces drives a commitment to inclusive, human-centered approaches to technology and problem-solving. Muzaffarah has a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Engineering and is a Senior Data Analyst at Innit Technologies. She is currently serving as the National Assistant General Secretary, Lajna Amayla, USA.
Is there a mouse? I think I might have control for that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Ji, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So I request all the audience on the men's side and on the women's side, please keep the questions at the end, and whatever the question you have for the contemporary things pertaining to these topics, we'll be more than happy for the speakers to answer by the end of this talk, and we will have a panel discussion for a few question answers from the both side. So please keep those questions at the end. Ji, Jazakallah. Should I to start? So when it clicks the slides. Oh, there they are. Starting. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Augmenting the healer, AI, how AI and data science are redefining diagnostic medicine. The perspective that I'm coming from is I deal with data all day long, and it comes in spreadsheets, but I try to present it in a way that it tells a story and present solutions to problems, and that's where I'm coming from today. Allah burdens not any soul beyond its capacity. Medical knowledge today keeps increasing daily. The capacity for human beings to keep all of that, statistics, knowledge, clinical trials, in mind is an impossible task. An article in National Library of Medicine researched the growth of data sets. From 2008 to 2011, it grew 3 to 10 times in certain cases. And I mean, if specifically talking about scans, MRI, it grew 27%, CT scans, it grew 30%, MRI, 32%, all that data just stored in backroom storages. You don't look at it, it's just collected. And going through it is humanly impossible.
And I've seen doctors who are vigilant and they want to give the best for their patients, and they're looking at different trials that are coming up. They stay in the know. But I've also seen doctors who are not able to, and they're sort of placent, and they're like, okay, what are your symptoms? Here are your charts. Here are the numbers. Connect the dots. Here's the solution. But they don't see you. And that's where the issue comes in. Diagnosis is hard not because doctors aren't smart. It's hard because biology is noisy. There's so much going on in everybody. When you come in, you say the same things. I have sniffles, I have a sore throat, I have stomach aches, and they're like, oh, flu. Oh, we can test for it, but it's not going to be definitive because there's so many strands. They're only looking at the facts. I interviewed a complex care social worker last month and asked her about how they collect data. They said that we collect it from the moment the patient steps into the clinic, the hospital, or urgent care until they leave, and even after they try to get their feedback. And I was like, who looks at that data? And how often do they review it to see what was the problem? Like, a committee comes together and looks at it maybe twice a year. Twice a year for patients who've already left, who've already been diagnosed, treated, and how they were treated, they're not, there's no profanity on it, there's no immediate effect for that patient. They're gone. National Academy of Medicine reports that diagnostic error shows that 1 in 10 diagnoses are wrong. And this contributes to almost 10% of patient death. Say, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge. AI is here to assist the doctor, not replace them. Provide the tools for them to be successful, to have the knowledge, to have the confidence to say that yes, this could be this, and we should try it and see if we succeed, and then come back and see if we didn't. What tools does AI provide? AI eye, to see the unseeable. The AI librarian, the one who can look up references in seconds. The AI assistants, who can take the notes for you so that you can pay attention to the patient, see how they react, see how they present themselves. Are they fatigued? Are they jovial? If they're saying that these are my symptoms, but they're jovial, then it could be something psychological. That doesn't mean it's something physical. You can take the time to see what the patient needs if AI is taking your physical notes, whatever you're saying, whatever you're recording. AI pulse. Technology has improved with monitoring your health so much so. They have AI stethoscopes that they can detect arrhythmia, they can detect pulmonary dysfunction, or like noises in your bowels that shows abnormalities beyond what your ears can hear. Because when you're listening as a doctor, you have noise. AI can cancel out that noise and listen to what they're supposed to, and then give you feedback. And if it's different from what you heard, then you can look at more details, to do more tests, try to figure out what's going on. AI isn't seeing better, it's just seeing differently. It's giving you more insight. Did you know that radiomics can detect microscopic patterns in CT scans invisible to the naked eye? It extracts quantitative features from medical images such as shapes, intensity, and texture that go beyond what the human eye can perceive. We're not here to replace doctors. We're here to help. There are plenty of challenges. Automation, bias in data and medicine, we are the teachers of AI. So if we give them medical journals that may be outdated or that may have bias based on race or other determinants, then the AI will also be biased. It will go on those data. So we are the teachers of AI. We have to face these challenges with quality and oversight. And then we also have funding issues. All these tools that I'm mentioning, a digital stethoscope or a CT scan AI, all this costs money. And fundraising is hard. So it's not something that we can just roll out to every hospital and make everything better. But those are things that we have to deal with and try to make better. Implementation is also hard. And since AI is widely used, it's not just for the doctors. Patients come in with a list of their symptoms and say, this is what I have, treat me. You can't do that. You have to make sure what they're saying is true. As I know personally, I'll go to the AI and say, these are my symptoms, and this is what the doctor said, what do you think? And they'll come back and say, why don't you have this test done, but I'm not a doctor, so make sure you get the doctor's view too. But patients don't listen to that. They just hear, oh, this is what I have, and it fits. That's what I read online. All these challenges need to be met with sincerity, with quality, with understanding, empathy. And that's where augmentation comes in. Okay. Where we are a human-machine synergizing together to become the augmented healer, where its data and its speed and its pattern recognition is connected with your empathy, your ethics, your nuances, your decision-making, your context, your quality. All of that is you. That comes with the doctor. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah Muzaffarah for that excellent talk on how AI and data science are redefining diagnostic medicine. Next, we'll be hearing from Salma, Sabiha on her talk on design, deception, and AI. Sabiha is a graduate student in software engineering at George Mason University with a foundation in computer science and a research focus at the intersection of human-computer interaction, software engineering, and data-driven systems. She previously completed her master's degree in computer science at GMU, where she distinguished herself through both academic excellence and impactful research contributions. Her work centers on improving how people interact with software systems, particularly in the context of user interfaces and developer tools. She has contributed to published research projects involving automated UI evolution using computer vision, defection of dark patterns through AI techniques, and UI-based test or oracle generation for mobile applications. Her research reflects a balanced integration of technical innovation and human-centered design, aiming to make software systems more usable, ethical, and accessible. Sabiha.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We have heard from my previous two respected speakers about how AI influences what we see on social media and how AI is beginning to assist doctors in making medical decisions. These discussions raise an important question. What happens after AI produces an answer? we often focus on the quality of the data, the accuracy of the algorithm, or the intelligence of the model. But there is another layer that receives far less attention, which is the interface that we interact with. How is the answer is being presented to us requires a far greater attention, because there is this something powerful thing, which is the design. And before I explore that idea, I'd like to anchor my talk with this verse from Holy Quran. In this verse, Allah Ta'ala commands us not to mix the truth with any falsehood nor conceal it knowingly. This reminds us of something fundamental. Clarity, honesty, and ethics begin with intention. How we communicate, even in digital spaces. But today, a critical question emerges. What happens when AI begins to decide for us and brings those decisions to us? Because between data and decision, there is design. And when developers who create these designs, intentionally or unintentionally, design these interfaces that guide our choices, those designs can carry a bias. So what happens when truth is not hidden in words, but in the way the information is being presented to us? Let me start with a simple question. Have you ever clicked on a bright continue button only to later realize that you signed up for something that you did not intend to initially? Probably most of us have done it, right? So the thing is, like, you didn't lie, right? You didn't lie, you didn't choose anything wrongly, but the design, the way the interface was designed, that guided you. So that moment when the truth becomes blurred through design is what I'd like to begin with. Because today, as we speak about minds and machines, we must ask, are machines helping us making better decisions, or are they shaping those decisions for us? And more importantly, as humans, are we creating a bias in making those decisions? We often think of AI as something invisible, like algorithms or models or the data. But what we actually interact with is the interface. Buttons, colors, text, layout, and these are not anything neutral. Research shows that user interfaces can contain dark patterns. Now, what are these dark patterns? They are basically designs that can nudge, pressure, or mislead users into actions they might not have taken if they were fully. For example, a bright accept button versus a hidden decline option, right? A countdown timer that creates a fake urgency. We often see that on commercial websites. A pre-selected checkbox you did not notice. So these are not actually software bugs. These are designed decisions that influence our human behavior. Now, in our research work, we asked a simple but powerful question. Can we teach artificial intelligence to recognize deception in design? We developed a system that's called AidUI. It looks at what you see, it reads what you read, it analyzes how things are arranged. Because deception is rarely in one place, it's in the combination of different signals. It can be textual, it can be visual. It can be in the arrangement of different aspects. And what we found is powerful. These patterns are everywhere. Many users don't recognize them, and the developers who uses AI models to design the interfaces may add them intentionally or unintentionally. And studies show about 11% of shopping websites and up to 95% of popular apps contain at least one dark pattern. That means this is not rare, this is systemic. Now, AI systems are basically trained on data, right? We all know that. But interfaces are designed by humans. So when biased data meets persuasive design, we don't just get biased decisions, we get biased assumptions. For example, a healthcare AI suggests a treatment plan. The interface highlights one option more than others, and the doctor trusts the system. Now what happens is the patient never sees the alternatives or perhaps ignores it. Now the issue is not just accuracy, it's influence. AI does not just inform the decisions to us, it can then shape them. Now, this is where our theme of this session truly comes alive, like minds and machines across disciplines. In religion, we are taught honesty and clarity, correct? In healthcare, we value trust and responsibility. And in technology, we build systems that scale influence. But all three intersect here: ethical intention, AI capability, and interface design, because even a good AI system can become harmful due to poor design. And as AI becomes a significant factor for digital interfaces, it cannot really be rejected. We cannot reject AI at this age of technological advancement, but it can be refined. We can build systems that can explain users their choices, that can respect their autonomy, that can avoid manipulation, and support human judgment instead of replace them. And from a developer's perspective, tools like AidUI show that we can detect and prevent deceptive patterns before they reach the end users who use those technologies. And in today's world, we know that truth is not only spoken, it is designed, the way information is being presented to us. Every button, every prompt, every AI suggestion that we see and receive is a form of communication. Therefore, the key is to build our machines in a way that reflect our values, not reshape them. Because in the end, AI does not just reveal us, it also, it does not reshape us, it also reveals us. It reveals our inner intents. So the ultimate goal or the ultimate solution is to follow what Allah Ta'ala commanded us, what I began with, that confound not truth with falsehood, nor hide the truth knowingly. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah to all the speakers who have presented very insightful talks on different aspects of social sciences, starting from the ethics and then the integrative medicine and you can say the data science and the redefining of diagnostic medicines, and also the deceptions. So I'll now open up the floor for our audience from the men's side and from the women's side. If they have questions, please go ahead and forward those questions to us so that our speakers can answer them. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Umar Malhi. I have a question for our esteemed speaker, the second speaker for Augmenting the Healer, Muzaffarah Ahmad Sahiba. That is there a space for an AI that specifically deals with medicine and is trained on data just based on medicine, reason I'm asking this is that eventually this is going to come to a point where AI eventually is going to be coming into effect more and more, we whether like it or not. So if we have an AI that is specifically trained on medical data and the decisions or suggestions by that AI then can be a little bit more dependable and predictable. Another example is that there's a car company called BYD in China, and they have their own autonomous car driving system. And I think a week ago they came out and said that any accident which happens due to their own autonomous driving system, the company will take care of it. So they are fully standing behind it. So eventually AI is going to become powerful enough where it's going to interfere in all routine interactions between patients and health professionals. So is there a space for an AI specifically based on health data?
Jazakallah. So as far I know, I think our speaker, she's going to answer that. Muzaffarah, if you can please kindly come. Just a note on that starting from the generative AI, now we're in the phase of agentic AI. And last week, I've gone through an article in which they have also given, like, agentic is going to self-reconserve. So self-reconservative recursive AI is there when AI is going to generate the models by themselves. Are we there yet or not? I think the scientists, they are still in that. And some of them have also verified that. So Muzaffarah is here to answer.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So far as I know, there are certain AIs like Plod AI. They help with note-taking and remembering and summarizing all the doctor's notes that they do with patients. But AI can be trained to be like the more information you give it, there are like, if you go on any job website, they're actually looking for AI trainers for multitudes of tasks, like training it in coding for developers, in training it for medical. But the medical ones are, you will find them basically, the more you teach the more they interact with those doctors, that they ask the AI a question and see how it responds based on the medical knowledge that they've been given. And then if they respond incorrectly, then the doctor gives them the correct answer. And they do mold and modify the AI and teach it like that. I don't know if is that satisfactory?
Jazakallah, Muzaffarah. So this is, I think, a very, very elaborate topic. We are going to have a very great workshop tomorrow in which we are having experts who are going to let us know how to train the models, how to generate the prompts, how to see the hallucinations and all that, because this is all coming through the computer and sciences and all that. Pertaining to the data that our esteemed speaker has just explained, just on a personal note that I've been doing some data analysis with that. Claude has been using, it's been getting us so much popularity these days, but how you're going to train that model, until and unless, if biostatistically, that's my field, that if you are going to see that how that works, until and unless you know about that, how the statistical models work around them, you would not be able to detect that. It's just like throwing the code and then coming up without detecting what are the assumptions, what are the outliers, how you're going to handle the data, whether this is the correct technique, or either you are going to use a frequentist model or a Bayesian model. So this is a very, very elaborate thing in which you need to train your own model. But since self-recursive AI techniques are in there, we have to be very vigilant at how it's working. So I request more questions, especially from our emerging new scholars, our young students, if they have in that. Yes, please come on. Mm-hmm. And on the men's side too, I request as well.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maniha. I had a general question for all the speakers. I know we just discussed how AI could be a very useful tool in solving problems throughout all disciplines. But there's this stigma attached to AI currently, that those who use AI, maybe they're not putting enough of their original work into research, or that it's unreliable. So how can you present, your ideas when you use AI as a tool to the world that, yes, I did put my original work, and here is how, an AI is helping me analyze data, but it's still, I still did that work, or, my team still did that work. Jazakallah.
Any of the speakers they want to give their, or all of the speakers, if they can talk about on that?
So from my perspective, I can say there is no clear answer. We're still struggling. I talk to my colleagues, and they tell me about how they developed an assignment using AI. Students submit their assignments back using AI, and then they grade them using AI. Where is the human intervention, right? That is why I said it's a double-edged sword as far as my field is concerned. We do like to encourage use of AI with responsibility, right? Making sure that AI comes in only when the use of efficiency is included, but not to make decisions, not to develop frameworks, not when there is a unintended harm where there could be biases. Responsibility, personal responsibility, and personal ethics.
Jazakallah. More questions from the men's side also? If we can have any questions from the men's side? Okay. Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. So I just have to say this was a very fascinating topic. A topic that I'm not really familiar with. So I really, really enjoyed it. This is for all the speakers, the distinguished speakers. We hear a lot about AI. It's moving forward really, really fast. And you hear about AI in all specters of jobs and your life. And there's this concept that, AI is going to take over the world, right? At some point or the other. So as experts in this field, what do you see the future of AI? What's going to happen? Near future, and I know you can't predict the future, but where is the trajectory going? And then I have a second question. If somebody wants to be in this field, what education track, what degrees, college degrees should they go for if their goal is to get into some sort of a, in the future, AI field?
Assalamu alaikum. That is a wonderful question, something that comes up to many of our minds. So taking over jobs, right, AI. I would say that this is, if you can compare the era before the computers were with us and after the computers here with us, right? So the main thing is keeping ourselves updated with the latest technology and the use of these tools. If you know how to use a tool, your job is secure, because as everywhere, everybody wants to be updated, keeping up with the latest technology. So if you know how to train a model, if you know how a particular AI tool works, you are the master of that tool. So if you know how to run it, you are the mind behind that machine. But if you don't know how to run a particular tool or you don't know how to use a specific technology, then definitely you will lag behind others who know how to master that skill. And as for the second question, what was it again? I'm sorry.
If you wanted to get into the AI field in the future, what would you do if you're going into college?
Okay, so definitely I would say computer science is the very basic knowledge. I believe schools also introduce something related to coding and IT education for the schoolers. And then after that, AI actually broadens up so many possible options for us to pursue our careers. So it actually depends on which way you would like to see yourself in the future. Depending on that, you can see what are the latest technologies that are being introduced to us, and then you can just grab that and make yourself learned. Jazakallah. Yes. Ji.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum assalam.
Thank you to all of you. These were all wonderful presentations. I have a question for you. You know, this, as the slide says about dark patterns, recognizing, in my simple mind, I call it anti-AI, okay, because it's like, you know, but who would want it? Why would a company that is trying to make profit want something like this? Because you're trying to psychologically play with the mind of the consumer.
Right. Absolutely. That is also a wonderful question. And I was expecting this question from someone, to be very honest, because I prepared a tiny answer for that. So when I am saying dark patterns are introduced through these designs, right? And these designs deceive us, deceive our decision and manipulate our decisions. So what happens is, like, developers who are behind these designs, they do it either intentionally or unintentionally. They introduce these deceptions. Now, why they do it, right? That is your question. Why introducing this? So when they are doing it unintentionally, it is basically probably to achieve a particular goal. They do not have anything to do with monetary profits, mainly because when they are trying to achieve a goal that is related to what they want to do through that interface, when they are trying to connect with the end users, something that happens unintentionally. But let me give you an example when they intentionally do it. For example, when there is a streaming service, right? They show this interface, there is a bright button that says, like, a free trial option, right? You can go through a free trial for a week, and then there is a tiny gray button that says the cancel option for the trial, right? But there is a tiny link, that small link probably at the very end of the screen, that says you also have an option to use that application without going through that subscription. So this is like intentional. So the company wants you to subscribe only for achieving these monetary benefits. That is why, I mean, everything behind this deception, there is this monetary benefit, this worldly benefit they look after. That is why they introduce these deceptions. I hope that answers your question.
Jazakallah to our three distinguished speakers for this very enlightening discussion on AI. And we are seeing that it's not simply a technological challenge, it's a human one. And we've explored how it's transforming medicine as well as many other institutions in our society. And I would like to just close now and make this final announcement that we will be serving lunch at noon to 1:30 p.m. And at 1:30 p.m. we have Juma, and in rooms 101 and 105. We'll be putting up posters after lunch for the men on the second floor and for the ladies in the basement. Oh, I apologize. Okay, so we'll be putting up the posters only in the basement for men and ladies. And then 3 to 4:30 p.m. is the next joint session, IAAE, in Salon 1 and 2. Jazakallah.
Say salam to Sadr Salim.